In 2007, two prison inmates were being escorted to their cells when they freed themselves from restraints and subsequently stabbed the prison guards. After they found the key on the guard, they went straight to another inmate's prison cell, unlocked it, and stabbed him about 50 times with a makeshift knife. The two guards survived, but the inmate was dead. This was no spur-of-the-moment decision. This was planned. After the duo of destruction were detained, they were identified as soldiers of Aryan culture, a violent white supremacist prison gang. This is just one of the many brutal prison gangs that plague the world's toughest prisons. There are stories of riots, murder, and trafficking that make us wonder how strong these gangs are, plus how bribable these prisons are. Let's dive in to learn about some of the most brutal prison gangs in the world. We'll kick this video off with the ruthless prison gang based in Utah, the Soldiers of Aryan Culture. It was started in 1997 by an American prisoner, Tracy David, who was influenced to establish a white power group after an Aryan Brotherhood affiliate introduced him to white supremacist literature. Since then, the SAC has grown across the United States, with members residing both inside and outside the prison walls. They follow a military-styled hierarchy, filled with generals, captains, lieutenants, etc., and have an invite-only form of recruitment. After successfully joining the gang, they receive the SAC patch, which is a tattoo of a swastika interwoven with an iron cross. The Soldiers of Aryan Culture are anti-Semites, and are regularly caught having fistfights and brawls with the other Jewish inmates. Makes us wonder whether Ye is a member of SAC or not. The most recent reporting about prison violence from the SAC comes from 2014 and 2018. In 2014, inside USP Beaumont, two gang members, Rocky Fackrell and Christopher Kramer, fatally stabbed the inmate Leo Johns. Interestingly enough, Leo Johns was also a member of the gang, but had allegedly made a remark that offended his fellow members. In 2018, the two murderers were sentenced to death on account of first-degree murder. Later, in July 2020, another inmate and gang member, Michael Jason Shelton, pled guilty to accessory after-the-fact murder, for which he was sentenced to 180 months in federal prison. It's a fine example of how the Soldiers of Aryan Culture can be locked up, doing time in USP Beaumont, and can still pull off a successful murder, even if it means getting caught. Now, we go to New York City Jail on Rikers Island, where two Dominicans, Leonidas Yonito Sierra and Julio Cabello Marin, started the Trinitarios. In that jail, many mafias and Peckerwood gangs were made for protection from the African-American gangs, which is why the Trinitarios was made in 1993, to protect mainly Dominicans and other Hispanic nationalities. That also explains why the gang's weapon of choice is the machete, alongside baseball bats, guns, and knives. According to a testimony given against them in court, quote, "One needs a sponsor to join, and once in, new members receive a rulebook, take an oath, and swear to abide by the gang's constitution." Back in 2018, inside the Vernon C. Baines Center jail barge, the Trinitario members went berserk, smashing windows, toppling furniture, and retaliating against correctional officers. According to the New York Post, one of the members had learned that, quote, "a friend would be moved to another facility." A correctional officer tried to break it up using pepper spray, but ended up fleeing for her life. As you can see from these shots, the inmates involved had to face destruction of property charges, adding to their already long sentence. This was just one of 14 violent acts committed in the jail between September of 2015 and July of 2019, according to the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. According to the report, half of those incidents were against rival gang members, like the Dominicans Don't Play or DDP gang. Also, 12 out of these 14 incidents were slashings and stabbings. Now we go to the Puerto Rico prison system, where the association Neta, or Neta Association, was founded. In 1979, Carlos Torres Iriarte formed Neta as a mutual protection group, which was focused on improving living conditions and defending the inmates from abuses committed by guards. Turns out they had a more humanitarian cause, unlike the white supremacist SAC. Their gang colors are red, white, and blue, the national colors of Puerto Rico. And instead of captains and lieutenants, their hierarchy includes a president, vice president, treasurer, and other posts. Kind of like a political party. Now, they have approximately 13,000 members, 5,000 of which are in the United States. They've also formed Neta chapters in 36 cities in 9 states that operate exclusively inside prisons. The biggest riots they've caused were in retaliation to rival gangs like Grupo 27, Insectos, and especially G27s, also called Gusanos. In the Oso Blanco prison, the leader, Torres Iriarte, was shot and stabbed to death by G27s in 1981. The correctional officers claimed that he was likely killed by his lieutenants, but then again, they were already paid to look the other way, as the G27s did what they did. After his death, the Netas rioted and took over several wings of the prison compound and the prison's pharmacy. Neta members stabbed to death and dismembered the G27's leader, Manota, after breaking into a cell. By 1984, Netas had taken over 7 major prison facilities across the island. Next up, we have the Brazilian gang, Primeiro Comando da Capital, founded in 1993 by 8 prisoners at Tibate Penitentiary in Sao Paulo. After they had experienced the brutal killing and decapitation of both the deputy director and a prisoner with special privileges, they aimed to, quote, fight the oppression inside the Sao Paulo penitentiary system and avenge the death of 111 prisoners. These 111 deaths were due to the Carandiru massacre, in which the state military police stormed the Casa de Tetencao and killed the prisoners in the process. Since their inception, they've had over 20,000 members, 6,000 of whom are in prison. The month of January 2017 was the worst for Brazilian prisons, as many riots broke out between Primeiro Comando da Capital and Comando Vermelho, who used to be allies. Its emergence is linked to PCC's methods of conquering new territories for drug trafficking, which infuriated the rivals. The first rebellion took place on the 1st of January 2017, with 56 prisoners killed in Anísio Jobim Penitentiary Complex in Manaus, Amazonas. The next day, 4 more inmates were killed at another prison in Manaus. And 5 days later, 33 prisoners were killed in the agricultural penitentiary of Monte Cristo, Roraima. Another riot took place a year later, where 9 prisoners were killed and 14 injured. 1 victim was decapitated. On top of that, 106 prisoners escaped, with authorities only able to recapture 29 of them. Whenever the PCC have an unwelcomed rival inmate move into their close quarters, they enter their housing unit, set their mattresses on fire, and kill them immediately. Finally, we have a gang that has a long history of drug trafficking, courtesy of links with the Colombian drug cartel. But it wasn't until 2011 that they evolved to become South America's most fierce prison gang. They are the Choneros. Based in the city of Manta, their gang leaders are indicted in various penitentiaries across Ecuador, giving them a new route towards micro-trafficking, contract killings, extortion, and contraband. One of the indicted leaders, Zambrano, still maintains the gang from behind bars. It wasn't until 2019 that they gained national attention by triggering such a massive riot that President Lenin Moreno was forced to mobilize Ecuador's military. The intent here was to disarticulate prison gangs by transferring different leaders and dangerous members between prisons. Once that happened, in came the deadlier riots. Now, who do you think would win in a fight if we had these 5 prison gangs in one penitentiary? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.